Hi there, this is David and welcome to the top 10 Nintendo DS RPGs. Nintendo's portables have always been RPG powerhouses, even when their companion console was lacking in them. So when the DS entered the stage as the supposed third pillar, I knew that I had to get one, even though I already had a Game Boy Advance. The tiny portable did not disappoint, putting out tons of RPGs, but because there are so many, I'm here to separate the wheat from the chaff. And as usual, I won't be including any ports or remakes. This will solely be unique RPGs only found on the DS. So, let's get this party started. Number 10, The Four Heroes of Light. Here we have a deliberate throwback to earlier, simpler times, which I adore. As such, the plot is pretty basic and formulaic. However, a nice touch is that it unfolds like a storybook. The world map, towns, and dungeons are fully realized and beautiful. The simplicity combined with a superb job system could easily make it one of the best RPGs on the DS, but they did have to go and screw it up just a little bit. My first complaint is that everything, all your equipment, even your spells, do take up inventory slots, and you only have 15 of them. This is extremely limiting, especially when there are 4 elemental weaknesses to consider, and you can't target, not your party members or the monsters. It's really annoying. And speaking of annoying, your party's constantly splitting up, so you're really just running around with about 2 party members. That really sucks, and it's the reason why it's just so low on the list. I would've liked it better if it was just a basic by-the-book RPG. That all being said though, it's still a great game. Number 9, Black Sigil, Blade of the Exiled. This one gets a bad rap, but I don't really care. I love it. It's an old-school throwback to the 16-bit days, but not in the way of Four Heroes of Light. It's actually done correctly here, where instead of trying to reinvent those days, Black Sigil plays as if it was released in 1996, not 2009. The graphics are unabashedly old school, and random encounters abound, though truth be told, I do wish that the rate was reduced a tad. The battle system takes a page out of Chrono Trigger's book, with double and triple techs, and because the game was made by Canadian developers, the plot, dialogue, and characterization is top-notch and full of humor. The story's very well done. It follows Kairu, a magicless boy born into a world of magic, but because of his deficiency, people look down on him and equate him to Vi, another magicless man who brought tragedy to the world 15 years ago. But if you can get past the crazy encounter rate and the sporadic crashes, you'll find a fantastic game and one of the best hidden gems on the system. Number 8, Etrian Odyssey 3, The Drowned City. I'm not really one to like first-person dungeon crawlers. In fact, many people have noticed that I haven't included them in any list that I really do, mostly because I'm just not a fan of their difficulty, their maziness, their traps, the pits, and other such nonsense. Also, the plot's normally borderline non-existent, so I tend to just avoid the entire subgenre as a whole. But Etrian Odyssey 3 turns that on its head with a branching storyline, ocean exploration, side quests, and 3 different endings. The replay value is through the roof as well, with tons of character customization, classes, and subclasses to choose from. Each playthrough will be different, and you can challenge yourself depending on what classes you select. The DS is the perfect console for games such as these because the map is just right there. You'll never truly be lost, and thankfully, you don't have to map it yourself. There is an auto-mapping feature, which you can turn off if you do desire, and you can use the touchscreen to add whatever notes you want to the map. Just a warning though, this isn't a game to rush through. This is hardcore through and through, so if you want a challenge, dive right in. Number 7, Rune Factory 3, A Fantasy Harvest Moon. I'll be upfront and honest with you right now. I'm not really a huge Harvest Moon fan. The only one that I ever played was the first on the SNES, and while I did devote many hours to it, I found that it got real boring real fast. I would pretty much find myself praying for rain so I didn't have to water the fields. It just took so much time. But I had that time when I was 15, but I'm 37 now, and I don't have the time or the patience. Rune Factory, though, is a different beast entirely. Instead of only being concerned with your farm and the girls that you date, now there's a plethora of activities to fill your time, from fishing to farming to shopping to crafting, and most importantly, the addition of combat. That's what really sets this series apart from the aforementioned Harvest Moon. And while the first 2 games in the series had combat as well, it just wasn't done near as well as this. Rune Factory 3 is a true action RPG with a robust skill system, challenging bosses, and a fun companion system. If you tend to write off games like these without a second thought, you might be pleasantly surprised at how well done this one is. Number 6. Nostalgia. Skies of Arcadia is quite simply one of the best RPGs ever made, and still to this day doesn't have a sequel. There are other RPGs where you travel on an airship and explore the world, but it just isn't the same. Skies of Arcadia had an endearing charm that's missing in a lot of other similar games. However, this is the next best thing. Set in an alternate reality steampunk version of 19th century Earth, Nostalgia gives you an airship to travel the skies right off the bat. As you soar through the heavens, you'll explore real-world locales, find world treasures, and complete all manner of side quests. Additionally, this is a traditional turn-based JRPG with an expansive skill tree system to customize your characters, as well as your airship to your heart's desire. Not only does your party fight in battle, but there are massive one-on-one airship campaigns to struggle through as well. This is definitely another hidden gem and should not be missed. Number 5. The World Ends With You. Here's a controversial game. It's pretty much love it or hate it, and that's why I put it in the middle of the list. Personally, I thought that it was, well, let me just say, different. It's nice when JRPG developers take risks, and this was a big one. The storyline, where you're trapped in a game world, is a bit Star Ocean 3-ish, but the writing and characterization is very well done. The battle system, graphics, and real-world setting can all take a bit of getting used to, but you'll master it after a while, and you'll find it to be very fun and involving. However, a word of warning, this is not a game that you're going to want to play in public. You're going to look like a madman tapping the screens to select the pins that you want while controlling both characters. Play this in the privacy of your own home, and don't write it off for being so different. Give it a chance. You'll be glad that you did. Number 4. Dragon Quest Monsters Joker. Let's get this out of the way first. Yeah, it had a sequel, but no, I didn't like it better. Yeah, the sequel had more monsters, but this is the better game overall. Let me explain. Basically, there's just more variety here. In the sequel, you're stranded on one island and it's very much on rails, while this one gives you the freedom to explore many islands, each replete with their own hidden areas and secrets. Being a spin-off of a spin-off, it's kinda surprising that the Joker series plays much more like a traditional mainline Dragon Quest game, with towns, dungeons, new lands, and multiple party members to utilize. Thankfully, also, there's no random dungeons here. My favorite aspect, though, is that recruitment has been made much easier than other monster games because of the scouting system. There's no hoping for a random chance that the meat, conversation, or Pokeball will work. If you like the monster, you just scout it, whack it a few times, and it's yours. You even have a hand in the way that your monsters are raised with the skill inheritance system and the ability to assign stat points upon leveling up. All monster recruitment games should take note. This is how it's done. Number 3. Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. I love the original Super Mario RPG for the SNES, but then I wasn't really a fan of the ones that came after, specifically those of the paper variety. However, the Mario and Luigi series has spawned some of the best games for their respective systems. While playing as Bowser wasn't exactly the best idea on the SNES, here he plays a starring role. In fact, you'll be controlling him more often than the brothers themselves. It's about time the Koopa King got the respect that he deserves. If you've played any of the other games in the series, you know how this gameplay works, with timed attacks, puzzles, and exploration, except when the game turns on its side, quite literally. Some of the most fun I had was when Bowser blows up to a monster's sides and engages in fun touchscreen battles. It's a joy to behold. Number 2. Dragon Quest IX. The first portable iteration of the series takes all the strength of the games that came before and delivers a masterpiece. The world map is beautiful and a joy to explore, and it's full of treasures, ingredients, and on-screen encounters. The storyline is unique as well. You're a Celestrian whose job it is to be a guardian angel of sorts to the people of the lower world until a cataclysmic event destroys the world tree and it becomes your job to save it, as well as the rest of Celestria. This is the game that never ends, quite literally. The designers included an expansive Wi-Fi system in the post-game where you can delve into grottos and fight super bosses, as well as purchase unique equipment to your heart's content. Harkening back to Dragon Quest III, your party is entirely crafted and created by you, from their job classes to their appearance, which changes based upon their equipment. Yes, it does follow that tried and true town, dungeon, town formula, but it's done so well and everything's so expertly crafted that it really won't be a concern. Besides, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now for number 1, Radiant Hystoria. This one snuck up on me upon release. As an Atlas RPG, I knew that it would be good, but I didn't know that it would be the best RPG on the system. I haven't played such a great time-traveling RPG since Chrono Trigger. The grid-based battle system allows for copious amounts of strategy as well. Between the combo system, switching out characters, turn orders, moving enemies and allies around the field, setting traps, combat never becomes old. The story follows Stock as he strives to save the decaying world by changing history itself, but it's not done in the same way as Chrono Trigger. Here, instead of going hundreds or thousands of years into the past or future, you're instead presented with choices, like a choose your own adventure book. Choose wrong and you'll get a bad ending. But the game acknowledges your OCD and makes it very easy to go back and change your mind, so seeing all the different paths and endings is very easy. The format and story never overstays their welcome, and this is one game that deserves to be made into a series of its own, not just remade on the 3DS. What are your favorite games on the original DS? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments, and have a good day.